This is a story about notebooks. This is not a story about organization or productivity or efficiency. I love notebooks. I've always been obsessed with them since I was a very young kid. It was sometime in the late 90s. I don't know exactly how old I was, somewhere between 5 and 8, I'd say. My grandpa sold crop insurance, and my mom worked for him, so he needed to meet this farmer, and took us with him, met him at some restaurant. This farmer had this planner notebook thing. It was one of those old kind, had like the calculator built into the cover flap, and a pen holder, and note and business card holder, and a little Velcro flap to hold it all together. It was beautiful. It was one of the coolest things little Skylar had ever seen. Now, I know that this makes me sound like the lamest kid, but remember, late 90s, no internet access, basic cable if that, rural Northeast Alabama, okay? It's not a lot to see at that time and place. I don't know what I did or said exactly, but it made enough of an impression on this guy that the next time my grandpa had to meet him, he had bought a smaller version of the same planner to give to me. And I kept that thing for years. That's one of the earliest memories I have of sparking my love of notebooks that persists on to today. All the way now, you can find me on the notebook aisle of Staples or Michael's or Walmart, wherever, lusting over the notebooks.
What are you doing?
But I'm gonna tell you a secret. Most of the notebooks I've gotten over the years are still empty. You see, I was obsessed with notebooks, but not obsessed with using them. I was almost afraid to use them. A blank notebook was intimidating. You know, figuring out what should I put in it? What color pen should I use? How should I lay it out? And then I would start it and I would get in and I would decide I wanted to do it differently or do it about something else. And then I'd have to start a new one, give up on that one, and I've had dozens of abandoned notebooks like that. I would try to plan the notebook out and figure out what was going to be in it ahead of time. Now think of the absurdity of that. Needing to figure out what you're going to put in a notebook before you even start using it. If I knew what was going to be in it, I wouldn't need the notebook in the first place. Now I don't know what the catalyst was exactly, I don't remember, but a couple of years ago, I was done with this cycle. I was decided I was going to keep this in my pocket. At first, just when I was around the house working on projects, and then I put it in my backpack when I'd be out and about. And eventually I just started keeping it in my back pocket all the time. And I found that by some magic, having the option to document ideas somehow led to me having ideas more than at any point before. It was a cumulative effect. They could build on each other, getting them out, let them flow more freely. By not putting pressure on what each little book in here had to be, it could be anything. It didn't need cohesion. It just needed to be a tote bag of raw ideas that I could rummage through when and if I needed them. This isn't some daily journal that I put pressure on myself to write in every day. It's just paper. If I have an idea, I write it down. Any quote from or notes on something I read or heard, I write it down. Philosophical thoughts, sketches of random objects, measurements for a project I'm working on, poems, lyrics, like I said, anything is game, no pressure. Some days I'll fill 5 to 10 pages writing essays worth of stuff. Then I might go weeks and not put anything in it. That's fine. Not having any obligation or goals eases my mind to let this be whatever I need it to be. I'm not using this notebook for productivity or efficiency. I'm not even using it to reduce screen time. I'm just using it for fun. If you don't think that a battered little leather notebook filled with crazed scribbles isn't cooler and more fun than an iPhone note, I don't know what to tell you. You're on the wrong channel. But I have been there. I was an Evernote subscriber for years. And you know what? I couldn't tell you a single thing I made a note of in all those years. I would have a thought, throw it into the black box, and it would be gone forever, tucked away safely in the cloud. I said I'm not using this for productivity or less screen time. I will tell you though how it has improved my creative life. This may be more of a personal problem than a problem with any given medium. I struggle with object permanence. If I don't see something, I forget that I have it and then I just don't use it. It's why I like shelves more than drawers. A phone app is a junk drawer. Everything's thrown in, you have to dig through, you really don't want to go looking through it, and you just can't see it unless you are looking. Where a notebook is open shelving. Everything is just displayed there, easy to see what you have. Some people may think that's cluttered, but I like that maximalist approach and aesthetic. Now, on a phone, if you look at it at all, you're only seeing the first few words of a note. You go down this long list, and if you're organized, you have folders for different note types, and then you get no cross-pollination of ideas. You open a file, scan it, see if it is or isn't what you want, go back, scroll some more, open another. It all just feels like some task, not a very joyful experience. Compare that to notebooks. I can flip through and see something whenever I'm bored or looking for an idea. I see all these things just fully displayed. It's the seeds I've got growing, the spark that I didn't remember, but I see something else and I think, oh yeah, I can, and I'm off. I'm maybe making this or writing that. Maybe I see something seemingly unrelated a few pages later, but it hits at the right time and the right mindset that it creates this whole other idea that you wouldn't have had if you hadn't seen those two things next to each other. Also, the pacing is different. A phone or computer is paradoxically too fast and too slow. It's too fast because you can type faster than you can think. So instead of letting the thoughts flow at a natural pace, it's trying to pump them out faster than they're formed. But it's also too slow. Now, how can this be? Backspace, select, delete, copy, paste. Before you've even figured out what that idea is, you're already trying to edit it when you're typing on a phone or a computer. Then you just lose the thread. That initial spark dims and the pure magic of the idea is gone. Writing with your own hand allows a much more natural pace. It slows you down to let it come as it wants, but it doesn't let you go back and think if the last sentence was exactly as it ought to be. Once everything's down, then you can go back later and start developing and editing. And that's fine, it's a good process, but you need to get it out first. I look at this little notebook and I feel something. This may be ridiculous to you, but there's a visceral connection to these simple physical things we carry with us every day. The daily use means it's always getting marked and showing its wear. It gets dirty and dog-eared. It's real. There's a simple pleasure in leafing through the pages. Again, it's just more fun. I mean, tell me what's the better mental image? Madly scratching down in a little leather-bound notebook, trying to get your thoughts down before they're lost, or tapping on this little glass box like every other person hooked on the digital drug, thumbs flicking your thoughts into the void. I think this is an invaluable resource to have on hand, being able to open it, see one of your own ideas, and then start doing something with it. But more importantly, for me, this is an invaluable joy. This, along with other everyday objects that we carry with us and use, we imbue, I think, a level of meaning and soul into them. Let me know what you think. Thank you for coming by. I'm Skylar. This is Rumbella Works, and I'll see you soon.